Hello, my fellow heart followers. Today on the podcast, we are talking about caring what other people think of you. Oh, hot topic coming at you on the podcast today. First things first, let's get down to business. Let Love In is going to be open for enrollment. That's right, kids. We are doing it again. 12 weeks, 12 women inspiring one another to let love into into their lives, into them lives. Yeah, I'm with you now. Into their lives, who really want to take some time off from dating for a hot second to understand their fears, doubts, and insecurities, the stories they're telling themselves when it comes to love, and then getting back out there. And what's really cool is every time we do Let Love In, it gets upgraded, it gets up leveled, it gets a revamp. And this time around, we're moving dating up a little bit. So that way you have a couple more weeks of coaching with me and you can get back out there if you choose to have a little support, love, and guidance. But the first month, we are focused on who you've been attracting and really understanding a deep dive into your past. And then the second month, we are focusing on getting to know yourself and really learn how to trust yourself, setting better boundaries, keeping better boundaries, spotting red flags quickly with friends and family, and using your voice. And then the third month, we get back out there and we start dating. And you're doing it by like creating a dating profile. I'm looking at your dating profile. I'm reading your text messages of what you two are sending to one another, helping you to create conversations. So it is going to be badass. And I thought that this was a really important topic to discuss today on the podcast, where we talk about caring about what other people think of us. I think so oftentimes my experience was when I had first started dating, is that I was kind of nervous about it explaining, especially on the dating app, like what did I want? What was I looking for? And I remember my best friend at the time, she said to me, listen, you don't drink and you don't want to date somebody who's either a big drinker, or B, who drinks at all. So why not just put that down there? And I was like, I don't know. I don't want them to judge me. I don't want them to think like I'm an alcoholic. And she's like, but you're not. And you know that you're not. So what do you care? You just want to make sure that you're not like dating some guy who you got to like literally pick up off the floor at a bar that you go to. And I'm like, well said, well said. So, with that being said, I think so oftentimes we don't use our voices because we care about what other people think of us. And listen, this shows up not just in your love life, kids. This shows up if you're trying to create a business, or if you have the entrepreneurial spirit on your heart. You know what I mean? Like, chances are that you're holding back from creating that business, or you know, stepping further into your business because you care about maybe what your dad thinks of you, or maybe what your mom thinks of you, like, or maybe what like a former colleague might think of you. And I'll never forget one of my really good friends, Jim, when I created this business, he sent me a text message and it said something like, like, fuck the haters, they're going to be laughing when you're like a multimillionaire or something. I don't know what the quote was exactly, but I remember being like, so well said. But then my mind went to, but do I have haters? Did somebody say that they don't like what I'm doing? And that comes from a deep seated need to have people love me. And I got to be honest with you, as I started to create my business, that has subsided. I don't really care now as much. Everybody's been really nice, by the way. Like, literally every single person has been heeding my grandmother's advice. If you don't have anything nice to say, then don't say anything at all. So I have found that I've never received a negative comment, knock on wood. Everyone's been super loving and supportive. I think the same can be said for when you start dating again and you decide that you are going to stop caring about what other people think of you. Excuse me, that you're really going to get to this place where you go, I'm going to speak up for what I want. I want to be married. I want to have kids. I want to live in a warm environment. I feel like we're just reading my dating profile. You want to be able to take space from one another. Maybe you don't want to text all the time. Maybe you expect a good morning, good evening, and good afternoon text. Me and my cousins, Kelly and Erin, we always used to go, or I think they were away on vacation, and Kelly just started going off on good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. It's like this like weird voice. So anytime I hear myself say that, that's immediately what I go to. So you're welcome for that being stuck in your head all day. But with that being said, too, you're allowed to want whatever you want. And I got to be honest with you guys, this hasn't come natural for me. I have had to practice it and learn it by having mentors, by having coaches, by talking to therapists, by really having a support system. And believe me, guys, I do the work. Okay, I do the work. I have the therapist, I have the coach, I have the sponsor, I have the sponsees. I go to the 12-step meetings, I meditate, I pray, I do what I got to do to keep this mind right. Listen, you in my course, How to Date, I say you cannot have a sick body and a crazy ass mind. You know what I mean? Like you can go work out for the live long day, but if your mind is not right, it doesn't matter if your body is tight. Okay. So I do whatever I can to make myself feel good. And what I have learned over time by literally talking it out, journaling it out, meditating, sitting in reflection, going to the beach, getting quiet, talking to girlfriends who are living the life that I want to be living is that I want what I want and I don't have to apologize for it. And as I've started to dive deeper into dating and relationships and really understanding from my past relationships, like where did I lose my voice? Where did I care what the other person thought about for their own life more than I cared and thought about what I wanted for my life? You feel me on that? Go ahead and go back to the 15-second mark and just go ahead and repeat that because I don't think I can say it exactly the same, but pretty profound. So, what I want to share with you today is that I would love for you to make a list of all the things that you really want in your life and why. Why do you want those things? And I mean, go into it. Go in, we're going in. Like, I want you to go in on wealth, your feelings, who's around you. One of my mentors asked me the other day, if it is the last day of you running your company and the person that's taking over says, so tell me about your experience. What were all the things you experienced? He was like, I want you to write a letter to me and tell me what all those things are. And I was like, wow, that's really good. He's like, what did you feel? What were you saying? Who did you help? Like all that stuff. You can apply this in your love life. You can apply it in your business. And you guys know, I'm now at the phase where I'm talking about business as equally as I'm talking about love. And the reason being is because 95% of my clients are entrepreneurs or they have the drive to be an entrepreneur, but they're a little scared, a little nervous, like I was, like thinking, oh my God, how much money does it cost to run a business? It doesn't cost that much. You don't need a website. Okay. Literally, you don't. You need an Instagram account or TikTok, whatever you want to get started on. And then I found that all of them started coming to me because they wanted to talk about love. And then they came and started talking to me about business because the way that we show up in relationships with other people is the same way that we show up with our money and the way that we show up in our career. Now, some of you might say, yeah, but Katie, I absolutely kill it in my career and I don't overthink it whatsoever in my career as much as I do in my love life. Okay, boo, go ahead and get started a podcast. Let's talk about that, okay? Because we can't be, in my opinion, I don't know if that's a bold statement. I was about to say we can't be great at everything. I don't know if that's true. I think that you can hire people that can help you be really great at things. But I do think that there is a component of really truly knowing yourself and really truly valuing what it is that you want. And that's the theme this month. We are going to be talking all about how to value yourself, how to know yourself. Knowing yourself is the number 2 principle within Let Love In. And the reason being is because it is the foundation of everything you do. When you truly know yourself, you can make decisions that lead you closer to your North Star. That every decision you make brings you closer to that dream that you have of being in a relationship where you're adored and admired and that you guys laugh countlessly at anything and everything, or you're running a business where you are wildly successful both from a time management perspective as well as like financial freedom. You literally have the ability to do anything when you truly know yourself. And I remember growing up, my grandmother always used to say that you have to know your faith. And I think what my grandmother was really saying, right, is you have to know yourself and you have to believe in something bigger than yourself. And it's all relative. Some of you are agnostic, some of you don't believe, but I would say everybody in this crew, most of you believe. And I would say that I'd go on a limb here and say that those of you who don't believe in God kind of wish you did believe in something bigger than yourself, because it creates this level of trust. And don't get me wrong, you guys, there are days where I do not trust. There are days that I'm holding on tight to that wheel and Jesus is like trying to pull my fingers off and I'm like, no, no, no. Control is a big part of, you know, trying to value yourself and caring about what other people think. Is we control comes from anxiety, and anxiety comes from trying to predict the future. So it's really crucial that we really examine, why is it that we're trying to control the situation, and what is it truly, what are the, I love this, Amanda Francis says this, you guys know I'm obsessed with Amanda Francis, you should follow her, XO Amanda Francis, tell her Katie Grimes said hello. I'm dying to have coffee with her if she would only just answer her DM. I have, by the way, I always encourage you, you should reach out to people who inspire you and tell them that they inspire you, because it goes a long way. Like, she's messaged me back a few times, her team has messaged me back a few times to say thanks. So I'm just waiting for the day that she takes my invitation for coffee. And maybe by the time this has been recorded, because I recorded this before my vacation so I could enjoy my vacation, I will have told you when I come back that I had coffee with her, because I asked her, I said, I'm going to Cali. Can I treat you to coffee or a juice? But she says this phrase that there are these whispers on your heart. It's a fancy way of saying you intuitively know what's best for you, and they're quiet at first and then they get louder and louder and louder. For example, I have been saying for more than 11 years that I want to move someplace warmer. Currently, at the time of this episode, I am still living in the Northeast. Like, get it together, Grimes. Like, it's time to really buck up. What are you afraid of? And I have to look at that. Like, what am I afraid of? Am I afraid of being away from my family because I care about what they think of me? Do I am I afraid to move because I might not have friends in the new place I go? And will I care about what other people think of me? I don't know. So, like, it's really looking at those quiet whispers on your heart. Remember what I went back to. I love giving journal prompts on this. So I get a lot of DMs from you guys saying, oh my God, I totally did that journal prompt and this is what came from it. So keep sharing that and comment below when you guys leave the podcast reviews. We're up to 23 as a part of this recording right now. 5 stars, 23 reviews. I'm saying I'm going to start reading some of the reviews on here live with you guys. I think I'm going to do that. Just give you some shout outs. Tell you I'm thinking of you. That I love you and I support you. This podcast is international, baby. Did you know that? Like, sick. Isn't it funny how, like, my goal, I found in a journal from 2 years ago, that 3 years ago now, that said, I want to have a podcast. You know, we think we're running out of time, kids, but in fact, the quiet whispers of our heart, when they keep getting louder, eventually they become loud enough where you actually answer. So your assignment is to go listen to the whispers on your heart. You don't have to take any action today. Simply just write them down and see where they become repetitive. I do this with particularly one of my clients, my private clients. He's been telling me that he wants to move, and I keep telling him, you've said it 3 times in the 3 months we've been coaching together. So I think there's something to be said about this. We should probably write down, what are those common themes? So start writing down the common themes. I love you guys, and health and happiness.